Sophie thought she knew everything about her husband, but when she discovered his hidden will, everything changed. Tyler hadn't just left her their home and business, he had left behind a secret offshore bank account tied to a company involved in fraud and money laundering. His last words weren't about an affair, they were about a shocking truth. What was Tyler really hiding? Stay tuned to find out what Sophie uncovers next.
In a cozy neighborhood in Asheville, North Carolina, Sophie Turner had everything she ever wanted. A beautiful home nestled in the heart of the Blue Ridge Mountains, a loving husband, Tyler, and two young children, Emma and Jack. Sophie and Tyler had been married for 10 years, their love story often the subject of admiration among their friends. Everyone knew them as the perfect couple, the kind of love that seemed unshakable. Tyler worked as a successful architect, while Sophie managed a local bakery, a place known for its rich cinnamon rolls and homemade pastries. Sophie's life, however, was about to change forever, and it all started with a sudden phone call one cold winter evening. It was 8:30 p.m. when Sophie received the call. She was in the kitchen rolling dough for the morning's batch of croissants when her phone buzzed on the counter. The name on the screen sent a chill down her spine. It was from Tyler's phone. "Hello?" she answered, confusion creeping into her voice. "Sophie, it's Marcus. Tyler's been in an accident." Sophie's heart stopped. Marcus, Tyler's best friend and business partner, explained the situation in a hurried, disjointed manner. Tyler had been on his way home from a meeting when his car skidded off an icy road and hit a tree. It didn't sound good. Sophie's mind raced as she dropped the phone, her hands trembling. She had to get to the hospital. The drive to the hospital felt like an eternity. Sophie's thoughts were clouded with fear, images of Tyler smiling at her during their last dinner together replaying in her mind. Was this the end of everything? By the time Sophie arrived at the hospital, the doctors were already working on Tyler. She was ushered into a waiting room, her hands clasped tightly together. Marcus arrived shortly after, his face pale and haunted. "I'm so sorry, Sophie," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "He didn't make it." Tyler was gone. The shock was overwhelming. Sophie collapsed into the chair, her mind struggling to process the reality of the situation. Just hours ago, Tyler was fine, laughing about their plans for the weekend. Now, she was alone, and the world felt as if it was crashing down around her. In the days that followed, Sophie found herself caught in a whirlwind of funeral arrangements, sympathy cards, and well-meaning friends offering their condolences. But none of it brought comfort. Nothing could fill the void left by Tyler's absence. The night before the funeral, Sophie found herself alone in Tyler's study. The room was filled with his belongings, his work papers, his books, his favorite mug. It felt like he had never left. Her eyes scanned the desk until something caught her attention. A small, folded piece of paper on the corner. It was a note, written in Tyler's handwriting. Sophie opened it with trembling fingers. "Tell Sophie I love her, but I need her to know the truth." The words didn't make sense. Sophie read it again and again, each time hoping for some clarity, but there was no explanation, no context. Tyler's last words, his final message to her, were cryptic, full of mystery. What truth? What was he trying to tell her? Over the following weeks, Sophie became consumed with finding answers. She couldn't stop thinking about the note. What had Tyler been hiding from her? Had their perfect life been a lie? Sophie's search led her to Tyler's personal files, his emails and his phone records. And that's when she stumbled upon the first shocking discovery. Tyler had been meeting with a woman named Jessica Carter, a name Sophie didn't recognize. The meetings had been frequent, and the texts between them were intimate. Sophie's heart dropped as she uncovered a long string of messages, some seemingly innocent, others suggestive. She felt betrayed, devastated, and confused. Was this the truth Tyler had been referring to? Had he been having an affair? The more Sophie dug, the more she found. There were bank statements showing unexplained withdrawals, flight itineraries to places Sophie knew nothing about, and a series of photographs that revealed Tyler had been on business trips without telling her. It all painted a picture of a man with a secret life. Sophie needed to confront the woman, Jessica. But when she tried reaching out to her, she found that Jessica had mysteriously disappeared. No one knew where she had gone. The first twist in the story had turned Sophie's world upside down. Her perfect husband, the man she had trusted with everything, had been hiding something dark, something she couldn't yet understand. A few months passed, and Sophie had barely begun to piece together her shattered life. The bakery was now hers to run, but it felt like a hollow reminder of all that had been lost. One day, as she was going through Tyler's paperwork, something caught her eye, an old envelope addressed to her. Inside was Tyler's will. Her hands shook as she read through it. It wasn't just a typical will. It was full of unexpected details. Tyler had left her everything, the house, the business, even his shares in his firm. But there was one clause that stood out: a secret bank account. The will stated that Sophie should use the funds in the account only in the event of certain truths coming to light. Confused, she researched the account, and what she found would shatter everything she thought she knew about Tyler. The bank account was connected to an international offshore account tied to several large transactions with a mysterious company called Maverick Enterprises. Her heart raced. What had Tyler been involved in? And why had he left her this account, knowing she would one day uncover it? With the pieces falling into place, Sophie hired a private investigator, hoping to uncover the truth. The investigator traced the transactions back to a major business deal Tyler had been secretly orchestrating, a deal that would have put the company he worked for in direct competition with his own firm. Worse, Sophie discovered that Tyler's involvement with Maverick Enterprises was linked to unethical practices, including fraud and money laundering. The final piece of the puzzle came when the investigator uncovered a connection between Maverick Enterprises and Jessica Carter. She was more than just a woman Tyler had an affair with. Jessica was a business partner in the illegal transactions, a key player in the corrupt empire Tyler was unknowingly tied to. The truth that Tyler had been trying to tell her wasn't about an affair. It was about his involvement in something much darker, something that had ultimately cost him his life. Sophie was left to pick up the pieces. The love of her life had been involved in a world of deception, fraud, and betrayal. But despite everything, Sophie knew she had to move on, for the sake of her children and her own future. The bakery was her refuge, and she would rebuild her life piece by piece. Though the secrets had been unveiled, Sophie couldn't shake the feeling that there was still more to uncover. Tyler's death had left too many unanswered questions, too many loose ends. But for now, Sophie was determined to live her life in a way that Tyler never had the chance to. A life free of secrets, free of lies. If this story left you speechless and questioning everything, don't forget to subscribe to Goodness Corner. We have more gripping emotional stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Share this video with someone who needs a reminder about the power of truth, love, and resilience. What would you do if you were in Sophie's shoes? Let us know in the comments.